You mean Matt here? Cow Part 2 of the underrated take team. Well, not necessarily underrated take teams. Take teams that should have been WWE Take Team Champions.
Yes.
So, we're down on number 8.
Next we go on to an interesting tag team that was kind of, I don't know if it was just kind of thrown together. I mean, they're both really good in the ring. They, as singles competitors, they were fairly good. And as a tag team, they matched really well. It could have gone long enough to get the tag titles. Who knows? I'm not even sure how long they went. Anyways, Coco Beware and Owen Hart, High Energy.
High energy.
Fuck, I almost blacked out Coco's name
Foul!
for a minute. Like, oh shit. Wait, I remember.
Botch the music.
Coco Butt Wheatwear.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I like watching them back in the day and seeing Frankie and Coco and, of course, the Rocket Owen Hart. You know, these guys look colorful, you know, and apparently High Energy started with Owen and Jim Anvil Neidhart.
Yes.
So I didn't even know that part, but I did know, obviously, Coco Beware and Owen Hart. And yeah, a team that should have got the tag team titles at some point. And I remember watching Survivor Series 1992
Yes.
and seeing the Head Shrinkers and High Energy and thinking, oh, High Energy is going to get the titles. I can't wait. And then they were so close, man.
Yeah.
But no, that never happened.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily sure if it was they separated Owen from the Anvil and threw in Coco because they were going to put Anvil in with the Hart Foundation, or whether it was something to do personally or something to do. I really don't know. All I know is, yeah, Owen and Anvil were partnered for a little while, and then it ended up being Owen and Coco.
Yes.
You know, it's funny when you look at Owen and either Anvil or Coco had like the checkered board suspenders and the brightly colored neon headbands and the pants. You could almost say that High Energy was the rockers of the late 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah, early 90s.
Foul! Yeah,
Because, I
and
mean, like, you look at the rockers, they had all these different designs and different looks and the bright colors and all this other stuff. And then High Energy was essentially the same thing. Like I said, the bright neon colors and the suspenders and the headbands. Now, of course, the rockers were a little more out there. I mean, I think at one point they wore like zebra stripes.
yeah, I think so. I'm not exactly sure when they broke up. I mean, they obviously broke up in late 92 or at least early 93, whatever it was. But yeah, a team that really should have captured the take titles for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, like Owen Hart would go on to be tag team champions with Bulldog and Yokozuna
Yep.
and Jeff Jarrett. But
yeah.
you know, the fact is, he didn't get it back then. But it was like, all right, well, obviously he got it later on in his life.
Yeah.
So.
And one thing I remember going back to the Rockers for a minute is anytime Marty Jannetty came up with an idea for what they could wear as far as like colors or an outfit or whatever, Sean would always call up his mom and be like, "Mom, you won't believe what this guy's trying to make me wear. He's trying to make me wear zebra stripes, and he's trying to make me wear this, and he wants me to do this," and it's like, wow.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like Sean basically trying to get approval from his mother about the overall look of the team, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, that was on, I think, one of Shawn Michaels' DVDs. It might have been Heartbreak and Triumph. I'm not sure though.
No, I'll have to watch that again.
And, speaking of Owen Hart, we now go to Owen and his
Older brother and former WWE, former Intercontinental, former tag team champion himself, Bret the Hitman Hart.
I was just kind of trying to lead into like
Oh,
how the difference. I think there was like 8-9 years or something. Anyway, yeah, Bret and Owen.
and you know, it was kind of like, okay, so Survivor Series '93, another Survivor Series.
Yeah.
You had the Hart Foundation. Well, you had the Hart family. It was like Keith, Bruce, Bret, Owen, and I don't think Smith was there.
No.
And you know, Owen was the youngest, so
Yeah.
obviously he would be the brat, you know. And
Yeah.
there was a point where Bret got knocked off the apron when Sean was throwing Owen to the ropes.
Yeah.
So basically, Owen got eliminated. So Bret won for his team, and then Owen got
You know,
upset.
all the brothers come out to celebrate, and of course, Owen's raid on the riot act and chewing him out, and then,
Well, I think he was the only one that got eliminated too.
well, maybe.
So
But yeah, they're celebrating in the ring, and here comes Owen, and it's like, okay, the family celebration in the ring. The Hart family gets one, and then of course you got Owen just chewing out Bret and giving him an earful, and the other brothers are like, Owen, what are you doing? Stop! You're being, stubborn and whatever. And then eventually, Owen takes Bret in his knee because his knee got injured.
yeah,
They're showing Bret getting wheeled out on a stretcher, and on the screen they got the interview with Owen, and Owen's going, all you had to do was make the tag. That's it. That's all. But you're too damn selfish. And he's still continually just berating Bret.
and that's when he kicked his leg out from his leg.
Well, and that started the ball rolling on what ended up being a match between the two of them at WrestleMania 10.
But before that, we had the match. So they did patch things up. So it was basically a Canadian tag team match. You got the Quebecers taking on the Albertans. So, you know, Jacques and Pierre, and then you have Bret and Owen, and it was looking like it was going to be a good match. And then Bret's leg got injured again. And Owen wanted him to tag. Bret didn't want to tag. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily that. I just think he was hurt, and the Quebecers tried to get him away from Owen.
Yeah.
So at the end of the match, Owen has enough, kicks Bret in the leg again,
And walks off.
and there you have your match at WrestleMania 10. and it's one of those things where they, and also just being brothers. Like, I know that I would have a lot of fun with my brother or my brothers if I was in a match with them because we know each other so well, and it would just be a lot of fun. And it's kind of like the match they had at WrestleMania 10, but more so at SummerSlam of that year. So, it's unfortunate the way things happened with Owens passing and Brett's stroke. That we never really got to see that again. Even with the Hart Foundation. And the new Hart Foundation. Brett and Owen never take together to become the tag champions.
No.
It was Owen and Davey Boy.
Yeah. But I mean, as good as they were outstanding as singles wrestlers, and it seemed to be WWE just wanted to highly build up a family rivalry, essentially, between them, and it went the way it went.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Carry on now to a tag team that I would say probably was two of the toughest, baddest, roughest, rugged, dangerous men in wrestling. Never really got much notoriety either as a team or in singles action, but friggin' amazing just what they could do. Making the Barbarian, the Faces of Fear.
Yeah, this is interesting because unfortunately I didn't watch WCW back then, but I know Haku and I know the Barbarian, those two together, holy shit, that must have been great.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is too is, Haku's like the toughest son of a bitch there is.
Oh yeah.
And the Barbarian being the guy who was in a lot of great tag teams, and 2003 Haku came back. Oh, he tagged with Rikishi, but he came back and he was as menacing as ever.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to see Barbarian come back. They would have reunited. They could. I don't know if they could still do that. I mean, they're probably bloody old by now, but just them being tag champions would have been great in WWE. I'm not sure how far they got in WCW, but
we're flying on the singles run, and then of course have Barbarian on the singles run as well. And his look was like, well, I guess you could say a barbarian or a caveman. He had like the antlers and like the wool or fur jacket type thing and whatever. And then Barbarian ended up partners with the Warlord, and they were a tag team, but then they both somehow Meng ended up in WCW as, I believe it was Colonel Robert Parker's bodyguard, and then I'm not sure how Barbarian got there. Then eventually, once Meng started wrestling in WCW, he eventually got partnered with the Barbarian, and they were off and running.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how things happen, and like I said, Barbarian, with the teams that he was in, should have been champion. Haku definitely. Especially with Rikishi, like that team should have been unstoppable.
Yeah, really.
But there you go.
Up next, is a pairing that we mentioned briefly earlier, but we can go into a little bit more now. I forget what their individual names were of the Orient Express.
And you know, it's kind of interesting, and of course, it would be like that because of whatever. One of them was actually from Hawaii.
Yeah,
Actually, so is Harry Fuji, so
Yeah.
they're obviously of Japanese descent, but
yeah,
you know, these guys, when you hear them in interviews, they didn't speak,
they didn't speak a fucking word of English.
no. But that would have been cool. I mean, why not? You got Nikolai Volkov and Iron Sheik as the tag team champions.
Yeah.
These guys were fucking awesome
Oh yeah.
in the ring. They should have been champions. I keep saying a lot of these wrestlers from Japan are far more better than the ones here in North America. So, I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, there should have been tag champions. And you've got Mr. Fuji as your manager, so there's no trouble keeping him for a while.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out like that, unfortunately. I don't know if one of them actually went to ECW, unless that was a different guy.
No, I was a completely different guy altogether.
Oh, okay. Anyways, yeah, no, Orient Express was fucking awesome, and I wish they would have had the title at least once.
You know, talk about both of the members of the Orient Express being not from Japan, but being from Hawaii is just like fucking for years and years and years. Everybody's thinking, oh, Yokozuna, he's Japanese, he's, you know, this big sumo wrestler and, you know, doing all this stuff. But he was fucking Samoan.
Yeah, but if you think about it, though, did he really look Japanese? I mean, my 9-year-old brain didn't register that. But still, it's like, yeah, he looked like he could have been Japanese at the time.
Which is probably why they gave him that gimmick, but later find out that he's actually Samoan. Like,
But
okay.
I found this interesting years later. A lot of Samoan guys end up going to Japan to become sumos.
True.
So, it's not far off.
Yeah, I guess.
But it is, you know, Yokozuna is going to be one of those guys that are going to be missed because of the power he had. You know, but, you know, we all have a weight problem, and that's well, I do. And there it is. I mean, Yokozuna couldn't control that, and that eventually led to his demise.
Yeah. You know, when the Orient Express was in the WWE and they were wrestling the Rockers and wrestling other tag teams, they did very well, but I think they had a very short run. I'm not exactly sure how long it was, but next we have, well, I think a couple guys I just mentioned like 5 minutes ago. Warlord and the Barbarian, the Powers of Pain.
Again, there's nothing much to say except these guys were also managed by Mr. Fuji.
Yes.
You know, these two monstrous guys should have been champions. I mean, you had Road Warriors, well, they came in later, and you had Demolition. You know, there's no reason why these guys couldn't have been tag team champions. But it's kind of like, if you're not going to use your guys properly, then why use them at all?
Oh, I know. And, you know, it wasn't that long ago I was looking for stuff to watch on my computer. I was on YouTube, I think, and I or who was it on TV? Anyway, came across matches with Powers of Pain and Demolition. Holy fuck.
I can imagine.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
I've never honestly seen that. I don't recall, but yeah, I'm gonna have to.
It was something.
I bet. Shit. That would have been cool. But yeah, it's just a team that should have been take champions.
Next up, we've got a quad squad, if you will, of guys that I had seen on Monday Night Raw. They were portrayed as soldiers of I forget what I think army, whatever it was, and they had different names to them, and they only were in WWE, I'll say maybe a year roughly. The Truth Commission. This was interesting grouping because you had 4 different guys and each one was like bigger than the last one.
Yeah.
And of course they were managed by the Jackal, who later went on to ECW and became Cyrus.
Right.
And yeah, not really a whole lot to say about the Truth Commission.
Well, Kurgan was there.
No, Kurgan, yes.
And see, I was talking about this with you, and I don't remember a whole lot of 97, but I do remember bits and pieces.
Yeah.
It was 96, 97.
Yeah.
But I remember Kurgan and Jackal.
Yes.
Now, these guys, it was probably more so 98, but
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, I've never really, unless I did and I forgot, but yeah, I was watching a match recently and holy shit, you know, these guys were brilliant. And
Oh, yeah.
we got, WWE is so much about the military and the fact that these guys kicked a lot of ass and they were monsters.
Yeah.
And they wore the green and the little berets or
Yeah,
whatever.
the red berets.
And so it's
Oh,
like,
it might have been the visuals in my mind, but the name just isn't coming to me. It was the Green Berets, and then there was these other guys. Fuck, I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, that's essentially the look the Truth Commission had, because like you had the red berets and the green shirts and the camouflage pants and the combat boots.
right.
And yeah, if any of you remember what that group was called, or not, what the look of the Truth Commission was, put it in the comments.
Yeah, because we kind of want to, I want to know at least.
Yeah. And probably the most notable feud the Truth Commission had was with the Disciples of Apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Skull, 8-Ball, Chains, and...
It wasn't Crush, was it?
No.
Oh, okay. I for some reason thought Bryan Adams was in that group.
I can't remember who the 4th one was, but yeah, those teams kind of battled back and forth with each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I wish I saw them back then, but
Yeah.
I may have and I can't remember, but yeah, from what I saw recently, they look like a hell of a tag team.
Yeah. Especially when you look at a guy like Kurgan.
Oh god. That guy was amazing. Like, just crazy.
Like, he portrayed the scary out of control character very well. And he was a fairly big dude and muscled. He could go in the ring.
Oh yeah. And the jackal, possessive man. That guy was a really good manager.
Yeah.
But speaking of Kirk,
Exactly. We move on to another group that Kurgan was a part of. It was Kurgan, Giant Silva, Luna Vachon,
John Tenta as Hogan, whatever.
yeah, the Oddities.
Yes. And who would have thought Earthquake would do that kind of stuff?
Wear like a leather mask and
A
wear a big
Cartman
t-shirt
shirt.
with a Cartman on it, and have a Cartman doll and just be like South Park obsessed.
Yeah, that was like when South Park was popular, and they just came out. But
Geez, I don't think South Park ever became unpopular. It's fucking still on TV.
oh, I know. But
But yeah,
yeah, Simpsons still rules. So
sure.
you got these guys, and they come out to the Insane Clown Posse who followed them to the ring. Obviously, just watched a video on Wrestling with Regret. Watch his video. He talks more in depth with that. But yeah, these guys were again fun, silly.
Yeah.
They look like towers and that brick shit house. But you know what? They's just dancing and all this other stuff, and it just I can't really think of why they never were tag team champions.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could have at least held it once. I'm not quite sure how they disbanded, but yeah, pretty much.
And as far as like tag team wrestling went, it was mostly Kurgan and Giant Silva that did the tag matches. I mean, yeah, you had whatever the fuck his name was, in matches, but it was mostly like the two big dudes
Yes.
that did the wrestling. As far as like tag team matches would go. The number one Carmen fan from South Park.
Olga,
Olga?
I think so.
Yeah. Had, I think, a few singles matches, but for the most part, it was like Silva and Kirk. And essentially, the premise behind that group was like displaying the fact that like it's okay to be different.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that kind of resonated with the time. Everybody was, shock value.
Oh yeah.
And, you had the headbangers, you had the artist formerly known as Gold Dust.
Which was weird as fuck.
Yeah. Fuck. And Luna Vachon, that whole thing, like I said, it was that generation and it just craziness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they definitely could have had to take titles for at least a little bit, but
Yeah.
somehow that just never happened, and oh well, I guess.
So now we want to. How do I intro this? A tag team that was good in the ring. They were pretty much fan favorites, and I don't know, they again just didn't really have much success to the tag team titles. The Allied Powers.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, and like I said, not watching wrestling a lot in '95. I think the last time I would have saw it were the Allied Powers. Now that being where they were on Monday Night Raw or was it WrestleMania 11? And it's just the British Bulldog and Lex Luger being put together didn't make a lot of sense, except that, yeah, okay, it's almost like a Can-Am connection. You got one guy from the United States of America, you got another guy from United Kingdom, and so put them together and whatever. It didn't last very long, but, you got Lex Luger eventually fucking off to WCW
Yeah.
that year, and Bulldog left as well. I think he went to WCW for a while until '98, but
Yeah.
this was an interesting tag team, and they didn't win gold, and that's fine because Bulldog would eventually. They already had tag team gold. Lex Luger probably could have, but yeah, they were not bad. I don't know what else to say.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Speaking of the Can-Am,
Can-Am connection. You got Rick Martel from Montreal and
Tom Zenk.
Tom Zenk, and I can't remember where he was. Well, he's American, so
Yeah.
kind of just went with that. Yeah, it's kind of like Rick Martel and Tito Santana were tag team champions. Then Rick Martel went to, or was that before? Who knows? The Can-Am connection, and I don't understand why they didn't get a tag team title push. And even if they did have a match for the tag titles and didn't win, I don't know, but it's kind of like, well, Rick Martel was the tag team champion already, so
Yes.
who knows? I think that it would have been cool, but again, it's just long time. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's too bad that Rick Martel, he's still wrestling, so I don't know exactly where he is at this point, but I wish he would come back and at least get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, for sure.
But, even Can-Am Connection themselves can get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Because Rick Martel becoming the model and having a lot of good feuds, then I'm not sure where he went after that, but yeah.
And some Martel did end up in WCW
Oh yeah.
for a little bit.
Huh.
Not exactly sure when it was, but
Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, I don't know too much about I've seen a few Can-Am Connection matches years ago.
yeah.
But yeah, pretty much a tag team that could have been tag team champions. But to look at it this way, yeah, Martel and Santana were tag team champions. So
We don't talk about Martel going to WCW for a little bit. I'm not exactly sure the time frame of it, whether it was immediately after the Can-Am Connection split, or whether there was a little bit of time, but Tom also was in WCW. He was Z-Man.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't remember that.
Oh, that was kind of early on in WCW's tenure.
Oh okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.